Hey everyone. So on top of doing the cabin build that we are in preparation for, I had received some fruit trees here about a week ago, and they're bare root trees, and they're supposed to be planted within 14 days of receiving them. So we've kind of had some bad weather. I had a little head cold there for a few days, so here about 8 days later, getting ready to plant those today. I've kind of determined the area that I want to plant these. It's going to be on the east side of the cabin build site. Anyways, it's beautiful weather today. I don't know, it's probably about 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm just really getting started, so we'll see if I get finished today or not. All right, so there's the camper site. You guys have seen that before. And then just a little to the north of that, where kind of all that gravel is, you can maybe make out a few posts that are sticking up out of the ground. That's actually going to be the cabin build site. So that's where the cabin's going to be. It's 24 foot by 32 foot. And then what I'm planning to do kind of on the south side of the cabin, which is kind of where the camper is, and then a little further, that's kind of going to be more of a garden area is the plan. And then what I'm planning to do is on the east side, like I mentioned, that's going to be where the fruit tree area is going to be. I'm not sure how familiar you are with permaculture design and things like that, but I've been reading some books on it. There are designs called tree guilds. It's actually where you have the fruit trees and then you plant kind of plants under the fruit tree that help bring up nitrogen from the soil, which then decompose and also helps your fruit trees grow quicker and stronger and gets them the fertilizer that they need. So I'm planning to do kind of a design like that, but I'm not sure if you can make out, there's a lot of rocks in this area where I'm planning to do the fruit trees, but there's kind of some bigger ones that I've laid out. You can see there's one, so that's going to be an apple tree. Right there's another one, that's another apple tree, and another apple tree. So I've got 3 apple trees. They're kind of dwarf and semi-dwarf. And then I've got 2 pear trees that are standard size, so these are going to be very large trees. So I've moved them back further to the north side so they don't block the sun, but you can see where that rock is. That's going to be a pear tree. And about 20 or 25 feet there to the west of that, there will be the second pear tree. So that way they're casting their shadow to the north in the wintertime, as well as the summer, of course, but more in the winter. There will be more shade to the north, and they won't be shading the smaller apple trees. So that's kind of the plan right now. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, guys. Sorry, but I stopped doing a time-lapse video earlier. It was taking quite a bit of time to get this completed and kept getting interrupted with other things. So since I stopped, I believe all that we've done is essentially put up the 4 T-posts there that you see, as well as kind of the chicken wire fence around it to help keep deer and cows out. I actually am currently leasing my land to the previous owner who has some cattle, and he brings them out here periodically, lets them chomp on the grass. When they get it pretty low, then he removes them and lets the grass grow back. So anyways, I don't know if you've ever been around cows before, but they love to eat little trees, especially fruit trees, it seems like. So I've got this chicken wire around it. I'm not sure that chicken wire is actually going to hold for cattle. It might. I've also got some a roll of barbed wire fence here, so I'm going to put some of that around it as well. One thing that we decided to do, generally when it comes to cows and deer, you're actually concerned about the height of the fence. You want it higher because for example, like deer can actually jump pretty high you've ever seen that. And cows have a pretty long neck. So what I thought we would do, I think that fence itself is only 4 foot high, but what we've done is we've lifted it about a foot off the ground. I don't care if like little rabbits or squirrels or whatever get in there. They're not going to damage the tree, at least to my knowledge. So we thought that we would just raise that up about a foot and give us a little more height on the fence to protect kind of what we're more concerned about, the cows and the deer. I've never seen a cow get under a fence. Now, maybe you have, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna learn something on this, but that has been my experience. Normally they're trying to get over or through, but not really under. So anyways, we'll see how that works out. But this little tree here, this is an organic Honeycrisp dwarf tree. So it's kind of gonna be a smaller tree, but it is planted. I planted some old cow manure in there with the topsoil around it to help give it some fertilizer. And I had soaked the roots in some water, which was kind of part of the instructions. They recommended 2 to 4 hours before planting. So one thing I've got left to do is just give it some water for tonight after planting, and then we'll be done with that one. But I've got 4 left to do, kind of running behind today. I'm probably going to go ahead and dig a couple more holes for those 4, in the areas that I showed you earlier. And we'll get those actually in the ground tomorrow and hopefully get some posts and fence around those as well. So that's kind of where we are. All right, so I'm finishing up with my last organic tree here. It's a pear tree, but I wanted to show you kind of what I've been doing. I'm not sure if you can tell on the time lapse, but I've been coming over here to get some of this. This is actually cow manure that I picked up from my land the other day, a wheelbarrow full, and I just dumped it here. And I've been mixing that in with the dirt from the holes and putting that around the roots of the trees. And the manure itself, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but there is what's considered hot manure and not hot manure. So hot manure is cow manure, for example. You want to make sure that it sits, I think, 6 to 12 months before you can actually put it on your trees or vegetables or anything, because it can be so powerful that will actually kill the tree. So when I was going around, there actually haven't been cows on my land here for a while. I'd mentioned that I've got a cattle lease, and he took them off, beginning of winter or so, because there wasn't a whole lot of grass left. It hasn't brought them back yet. So this manure that I picked up was probably 6 to 12 months old maybe, which should be good. And then I wanted to show you in the wheelbarrow here, that's what the mixture looks like. So I've got the original dirt coming out of the hole, and then I've mixed in some of that manure to help give some fertilizer to the new plants. There's the last hole that I've dug. These last few were a little more involved because the trees are called standard trees. They're not semi-dwarf or dwarf, so they're a little larger. They've got a little bit larger root system already, so I was having to take that into account. And then this area here is actually a little more rocky, you can see. So I had to dig through all of that. So I'm gonna get started here and finish off this last pear tree. And then later today, I'll probably put some fencing around it. Barbed wire, I think, is all that I'm gonna have. I'm gonna run out of that chicken wire. So I'll get that done today as well.